interesting storyline. Speaking of storylines, we need to see the bans to unfold. I hope you do enjoy.
Thank you very much. And yeah, this is all or nothing. And I know you sort of said that the classic saying of whoever's first is winning. It's true more than a lot of other teams here on this map because, you know, Oregon is where they pulled their win and put in a game against Talon, the same technical tier of game, if actually one round better than what Talon opponents Weeble just faced. But also, if we've just seen Talon dismantle a team from Group A, who knows where the sort of power level sits between these two groups?
Yeah, that's definitely true. Who knows? Maybe it is very skewed towards one group rather than the other. As well, Fenrir ban. I haven't seen that one yet. I think in the Europe League that we've casted so far, it's going to be a good one to have. I mean, we've seen Fenrir be very, very impactful on these initial pushes that attackers usually bring, right? So seeing that removed is really telling them that they might want to go quick. They might want to have the opportunity to just swing, not having to worry about the FNATs.
Now, last time these two teams met in the Summer Cup, not too long ago, it was on Bank, and it did get quite close. It went to a 7-5 with quite a defender-sided map, I think. Out of all of those rounds, there was only 3 attacks that were won in total. This first half for BSG might be the start of just how much game BNA are bringing on their attack.
Yeah, that's it. Again, we'll need to, you know, feel how this game is going to be going. Again, it was very, very clear very quickly in the previous series that it was going to be quite one-sided. Hoping to see a bit more of a trade, a bit more of a contested first round as well, where both these teams give everything they got. And we start off on that top floor, of course, and, you know, with that, there's always the opportunity to go roam downstairs, but it isn't quite as necessary. However, if you do not, attackers might have the opportunity, might use the opportunity to get grenades in from below if they have information on the positions of the players on the site. It's up to BSG to prevent that from happening as they prepare the big tower with a Frostmed out there. So if there's going to be a quick entry there, which doesn't really seem to be the case right now, but a majority spawn on the opposite side of the map, unless it's going to be up to Tammy on the 0 to just repel in there.
Let's see, BSG, how you're going to start this swing in. Now, you've been able to have, obviously, as I said, a little bit more success throughout the build-up to this. And yeah, I'm maybe going against the grain of prediction by going against the grain of prediction here. But I do think that there might be just a couple of bits of bite, a couple of bits of creativity, almost warmed up and heated up by just watching the game, if possible, from before. Because as I said, although BSG has some very good additions onto the roster and a lot of promise, they are players that have had off days, and getting that sort of fluidity is always up in the air. Evil, ready to see if they can try and meet the first swing across the bedroom, but there's one to his left in Armory. Where was he? Oh, they've actually pulled away. J1.
Of course, there's going to be that one reinforced wall on the sides, which makes sure that he was relatively safe, but doesn't want to stick around for too long. So a shield drop as well in the middle of trophy, so falling back behind the secondary shield is going to be what they're up to. Just out those keepers as well, just to slow down his approach a little bit. Our breach gadget to be used to open up slightly of a bit of width. Yankee does take down Temi. And it's fun because, you know, they just cleared out the big tower. They took care of the frost map with the upside down repel. Thought it was going to be clear. And he just comes up, still takes him down from it. Punishment for it by not being and staying aware of your surroundings.
The break comes through onto the site, and that is a sneaky little angle that should get spotted out. The way that that's sort of been built, they're not going to actually trust it entirely. A lot of pressure now coming against the site itself. J1 is going to keep moving up and swings towards the pressure onto Attic. They've got themselves into a bit of an awkward situation because obviously they can't really progress. Supreme takes a lot of damage on the cover there. They're on walking. You've got the first bit dealt to BSG, but Crazy Boy doing Crazy Boy things. Lied down. Yeeble gets one across the board. J1 has given himself a route, but can they make use of it? The first kill finally falls their way, but now it is the only player left.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
As that kill tries to move in, but he's about to walk into a big crossfire. Player from the white stairs is going to be able to lock it off in the end there. Thought it was clear. They killed the Wamai that eventually got that kill initially. Second player rotated up there, finds that kill, and secured a round quite heftily towards the side of BSG. But nonetheless, B&A did play together to some extent. They were working together to open up these walls. They tried to remove the player from the attic together. It's just that nothing really connected the way they wanted it to. So there is room for growth here. Don't want to be instantly starting to harp on like, oh, they only got one kill in the first round. We might get another 7-0 on our hands. Because from what I see so far, there is definitely like good communications within the team that they're trying to act upon here.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's, you know, so far from a danger right now. You're in the first round, you're up against an attack onto Oregon. It is defender-sided, and these two teams, when they've hit before, they've been defender-sided teams. B&A know that there's roots to grow here, and it's almost the different swing of it, is if you're suffering and having one kill on your defense in your first round, feels worse than the other way around at points, because they were putting pressure onto the site. They were up there quite close, quite personal. They just couldn't get catch on a kill.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
On we go again. Now it's important to just keep on working together, especially when we're now on that bottom floor. See, a couple of roamers are out there. It is going to be a task to the side of B&A to get these cleared out as quickly as possible, or to shepherd them back towards the site as quickly as possible. You cannot give them the freedom to keep on running around up on the top floor, because if you do that, be able to strike you in the back, hide, waste a lot of time, most importantly, basically leave you with nothing left to actually get an execute with. So they need to clear this out as effectively and with as little utility as possible.
Pressure comes, swinging down towards the other side and wanting to force that player out. They can try and catch the kill onto the back end. Obviously, they have the rotate round, but that is where Zafir is going to cut that off, so they can't get themselves a clear route. Instead, the supporters come slightly up Freezer stairs. They're just trying to force as much time as possible here. The Legion has an angle. They have the support from the top of Freezer. They know that they might be a little bit safe, and Baguette has just opted to go elsewhere because, well, there's players holding up top as well. It seems like BSG have slowly pulled the attention further and further away. The swing of the impact, the player with the impact behind them sooner rather than later. How are they surviving this long?
First initial kill does come down to B&A though, but they're still worried about a player that might be around in the bedrooms up top because, well, Baguette just kept firing, couldn't quite find the kill. So right now, getting the Gemini replicator out to see if there's anybody still in the big tower. Might have rotated into the big tower. No challenge coming, so probably will be clear. Now with a man advantage and a minute 20 left on the clock, they still need to start working towards the side, and that means getting a hold of the open area. And I believe there's still going to be a player out there who has the opportunity to just dig in and make sure that their life will be a living hell. 2 mines coming out. It's definitely not working well for them out there.
Minute and a lot of players left. Good response. Good reaction to the swing that came against them. You still lose the first engagement. You still lose that first trade. And this is what I mean, is it's not entirely away from them. They're close. They're putting the pressure onto the fights, but these final sort of little divots across are causing a couple of problems. There's one more. Crazy Boy. B&A, they still have that body advantage. They still have the chance at getting something here. Crazy Boy not getting that connection. Oh, that might haunt him a little bit if this round keeps going away from them.
Now they've known that there was someone inside of the elbow. That has rotated down in the meantime as Gaki will find the first kill onto Supreme. Back on the 2-on-2. Into the side they go now, trying to find themselves in a good plant spot. And this goes down, tries to put the plant on the board. The cover is going to be out there from Temi as he's unable to find the first connection. 45 seconds, instantly taken down from the plant site. That brings us to a 1v1 on points right now. So with that, a very good attack round from B&A, isolating the players, deciding that, well, meeting wasn't really worth fighting for at that point. Yes, you lost a couple of players due to it, but you can circumvent it, and that's exactly what they did.
Very well put together there. Much better sort of break onto the end. As I said, they were still losing a couple of bodies when it came to that final little edge, that final little inch, but they had the reactivity. They still had a grasp on the pressure on the site itself. And you know, if they can get themselves 3 attack rounds in a row, they put themselves in a very good position here. This is their map. This is as much as BNA want. But the more momentum that they get here, the more that they can carry that energy, that aggression in towards Chalet, a map that really does enjoy it.
But before we head there, of course, still plenty of rounds in Oregon that need to be played between these two. PSG, after just losing that first round, or the second round rather, which put one on the board for BNA. You said it before, very defense-sided, these two teams. Very, very beneficial for BNA to get an attack round this early on in the game. The way they did it as well, it was quite well, even though they didn't have meeting under control and they lost some players out there. So Islet on the Habana just instantly take control of the elbow and find 2 or 3 kills from there, and eventually they changed around in favor of BNA.
Now, this first strike might turn into something that becomes, I'm not going to say entirely defining, but there's definitely a keen attention paid towards the pace of the play. They've realized BSG enjoys doing these tool holes. They enjoy putting themselves further and further away from the site and sort of saying, come find me, come catch me. And BNA are playing into that, and I really appreciate it. And they might not be able to get that first take around the map. They might not be able to get the body before they pull back, but it's just this consistent movement and drive. The impact there to destroy the Flores drone so it doesn't get the shield.
Bit stuck now on the back side, of course, aware of the fact that someone could be swinging in from the showers. Shield there is going to be taken down. Or not. Good use of the impact there. Doesn't get the shield, but does get the RC Retiro. That really gives him the opportunity to, as suddenly the Jaeger swings around. Crazy Boy finds the kill to Supreme. That's going to be a man advantage now. Second RC Retiro goes on. Do they have another impact to use? I believe this time it will open up and Gaki will be falling back shortly.
Still? 2 for 2. 2 Reteros destroyed with 2 impacts across it. They keep the shield alive for at least 40 seconds longer than it should have been. And now, all that talk about time and pressure, it's time to try and get the pressure on the back of it. Probably saw the elbow before the head came around the corner for the swing itself. The advantage was on them based on the break in the wall. 5 versus 2, and this is going to be a bit of a tricky one to force over the edge here.
There's still plenty of time left, however, with a minute to try and make something work. But it is that BSG is so spread out currently that it is going to be truly difficult to get it to work. Now, they spotted 2 players, which they can try and isolate. There's also someone above. There's also another player close on that first floor that they haven't seen. It's going to be making it so much more difficult as they look to push the showers, giving it away, and that is showing the head as well by a little pixel. This time doesn't catch the kill right away, but he stays alive to fight. That's most important. That will waste time. MP goes down, gets caught by the magnet. Second one to be tossed in, seeing if they can find anything on the other side of it, as Crazy Boy will find J1. Now it's only up to Temmie. 20 seconds. Diffuser right in front of him, but he needs to find the kills instead. He cannot go for a plant in this current situation. Almost finds Crazy Boy.
15 seconds to go.
15 seconds to go, a 1 versus 4. I mean, it doesn't matter how much health they have. You're trying to force the kit into a place where you are entirely surrounded. He gets picked up on the back end. Whoa, from above, all the way back onto dorms. And I mean, that's the sort of back and forth that BSG wanted there. They're on their tertiary site, but they've done some good work getting it locked in on their favor. The timeout after only 3 rounds.
Yeah, I think they need it for the attack. Realizing, of course, it's a defense-sided map. If they manage to make the difference here, that might be the reasoning behind it. They can find themselves in a good situation on that second half. And thus, calling it now, calling it early. Now, it's not like things have been going horribly wrong for them, right? It's just the player in showers that they were unable to deal with, dealt a lot of damage, wasted a lot of time. Brilliant use of the impacts there, by the way. Taking down just the Rotero, not the actual shield with the shrapnel. Because that's always like what I thought about, is like the one counter to the drone as soon as it's anchored is an explosive. But if you're using an explosive, it will kill whatever it was going to kill anyway, right?
Yep.
That's usually what I thought about it. So as soon as it gets activated, there's no stopping it. But apparently if you put a impact grenade at just the right distance, you're going to be able to stop it. So that's very well prepared
It was
from
great.
them.
We saw it
knowing
twice.
exactly where to place it.
And so two
So that means they can do
very,
it consistently as well.
very cheeky demonstrations of, well, I guess the impact has this, you know, it's circles, isn't it? It's you're looking at the ground and hitting the protractor out and going, well, hang on a second. I assume you do that a lot. You love maths.
Yeah, no, I visualize it in my head and see exactly what the range is going to be as soon as I throw it.
It's all numbers and stats.
It's all numbers, you know. Getting the radius out there to get a trajectory to find out exactly what kind of the area gets destroyed and explodes.
You're talking magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking magical
What
terms.
they're doing there, it was magic.
They abracadabra is the same meaning to me. Alakazam.
They abracadabra. There you go.
All right. 2-1 and a timeout. All's dead. Probably to just be like, okay, look, we know what we're messing up here. The importance is on this map. If this map goes away from B&A, you would assume the series would as well. Just because of what is ahead of them and because of what's behind them. It's, however many times I've said it, the biggest test of any team, is their map pool when you get to this sort of stage. You've seen great teams with 4 solid maps get into a ban phase of a best of 3 or a best of 5 across any regions, across any tiers, and that's when things fall apart for them. And this is that moment for B&A, is they're going to have their hand forced. They know it just as well as anyone else does.
I mean, that's the thing, right? You need at least 5 maps to be able to succeed in best of 1s, but you need like 7 if you want to succeed in best of 3s to make sure that they stay up. Good shot coming down. So Baguette gets taken down on the back of keep a barrier. Sammy did get tagged up quite a bit though. He's debating whether or not to stand on top of the table, I believe, as a run out comes through. Preem doesn't quite get taken down, but he's definitely scared enough to go off the rappel at that point.
Creeping their way forward, inch by inch. They've obviously lost Baguette on the opener, but they haven't really been able to get their teeth into any of the engagements throughout this game. The long range ability to get some of the break across by netting the same results as before. They've got in on Attic, and this army is curious about finding a fight, but goes back to this, the very cheeky angle. Will they get a snap from the other side of it? Oh, they just shoot on the other side.
I believe there was a Gun 6 going off right afterwards to remove that keeper barrier from being in play. So with that, forced to rotate around, checking out the big window quickly, but there doesn't seem to be any pressure coming down from that direction just yet. Supreme in the meantime trying to come up on the white stairs, seeing if he can find something, and well, there is someone. Crazy Boy comes around a corner to check outside. A free kill for the side of B&A.
Evil holding on to the take. There's another removal of a B&A player. So against the sort of better judgment, and Crazy Boy acting like Crazy Boy. Being removed. B&A, they get the bite onto one. They almost find Gaki, but they just swing around and get the end of the kill themselves. It looked like for a second that push in the final 15 seconds might give them an advantage. They had the kit isolated inside. Now they don't. Now they know where the last player is. The pistol swing. It's not quite as effective as the shotgun in that range.
No, like on that range, a pistol against a shotgun is only going to go one way, unless you hit the head right on your first tap coming around the corner. But not the case. In BSG, they will be taking another round. I just said that push that seemed like it might have been going somewhere for B&A, but then quickly was dismantled by the side of BSG, who was still, you know, plenty of present on the actual site. That's kind of the thing. There was little to no roamers really from them, except for that one jump out, of course, that almost did pick up a kill into Supreme. Besides that, everybody was playing really much onto the site. A lot of time was wasted by trying to open up that wall, which was impact tricked, trying to get control from the window, which was then quickly shut down as well. Keeper barriers were inside the site, proving a small issue because people could hide behind them. And as a result, they kind of ran out of time. They had to go for it. 15 seconds left, not having the opportunity to isolate the players further. And the gunfights went away from them. Back towards the basement, though. As
10 seconds left.
might see an actual roam game slightly. Hatches have been reinforced. We have one person currently not on that basement floor. Could mean trying to roam around the bedrooms and the attic, but also be in the big tower possibly to go for a big play there. Seen that one work before, so who knows?
It is still close here for the guns of BNA. It's not that they're a million miles away. The fact that sort of happened after the tech timeout, or the tech timeout even, is a bit of a worry because, you know, you're looking at the importance of that round to them more than anything and seeing, okay, well, they weren't able to sort of get that immediate response. They weren't able to do some damage. Laundry was the site that they took before, so it's down to BSG to kind of formulate a response. But if they do, then suddenly you're in a 4-2 situation, and that is the highlight of why there was the importance of the round before.
And they were just droning, and they thought they might have seen a player inside the green. They rechecked it, and the player was gone. It's gonna be Crazy Boy. He finds himself on the exit of the big tower, looking towards the garage. So J1 moves in just the wrong direction. He might be picked up as a result of it. He doesn't exit the garage, which he was about to do. He should be fine. There you have it. Crazy Boy was waiting for it. Some shots get sent his direction. Instantly finds a response and takes him down without taking any damage. And now he's still around on that roam, being a problem.
It's always been the swing of Crazy Boy. It's such a specific playstyle. It's really all or nothing. And currently, there's been good moments of him. He came into this series as being the lowest rated player for the team, which is the backside and sort of the rotten end of being the all or nothing Crazy Boy of your team.
Yeah.
But here, on a map like Oregon, where, you know, BNA are trying to go slow and steady on the clear, he's just causing these problems.
Still, everything to play for here, though. 4v5. It's very doable, but they need to start making progress towards the side. And notice Keeper barriers, not going to be helping. Goyo canisters, well, definitely not going to be helping either. A player about to be swinging you if you want to go downstairs, well, that is also not big of a help. So, BNA, they need to isolate a single player. Try and push it from there rather than take 5 fights or 4 fights, all at separate occasions. And it seems like they're going to take the fight with the Shaiko player as they open it up. But Vamos is out there providing smoke after the fire to make sure that people from blue are not able to move in to find a kill.
Pressure onto the back end now. They're ready for the swings and the attention to start to come their way. And word against the player onto elbow, but 20 seconds. You're a man down. You've got to try and put the pressure in. They lose the first engagement. They lose the second and the third. At that point, they just took too long to try and cook up an attack here. Aided, obviously, by what we talked about of Crazy Boy missing that trick and missing that player. Led to just no time on their attack. That is 4-1, 3 rounds in a row, and a flawless to mark their most dominant round yet.
That was definitely a very dominant round coming out there. It's weird to see because BNA, they're definitely trying to fight here. They're not like
totally
out of the game. It's just that things aren't connecting for them right now. They have the right ideas. It's just go fight, don't quite stick. So
need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
one more chance to put themselves with a second attacking round on the board. You mention it, I'll mention it. Very defensive sided teams here. So as soon as the site swap comes through, wouldn't be surprised if this somehow does go to at least 12 rounds to decide who's the winner. As BSG, of course, have cooked something up and are ready to show it here. As they want to move on to the semis.
Yeah, it's truly the test here. Is this, I think, more than other maps and other teams, is going to be a test of two halves. You can see why they've taken their time out and why they wanted to do the distance on their attack. It's because they're more confident about their defense. It's not a question of the second half of this game for BNA. They have done the maths, and the maths is if we get 3 attack rounds, we win this game. There's still the possibility of them putting in a game. There's still the pressure on BSG on the second half. 5-1, and they put themselves in a good stead. But a 4-2, and as you said, I think we might be finding ourselves eking and edging towards potential OT here this first map.
That's an issue, though. The player inside the showers again was very, very capable of using those impacts last time around. You need to find a different way to blow them up. Pressure already coming onto the breach, so Nami will fall back slightly. RC Retiros, first one, second one actually shot out already, so there's 2 left to try and dismantle that shield. I'm not sure if they actually might have gotten it already, but I believe the player's still out there in showers, so really ups the pressure a bit. Of course, they have the concussions or the impacts from Baguette as well they could use on the shield. The shield seems to be gone. It's a zombie barrier this time.
Well, you can hear the Flores drones doing some work slightly further away. Gaki's ready for the swing. Come around and face him face to face. He was happy to hold on to this position as long as possible, and as long as he did previous time round. You've still got, though, this pressure of time, and Baguette, as I said, has been very unsuccessful on these first engagement and first kills. All of his utility in pockets. He's trying to hold onto the angle in an awkward fight. The blinds come out onto Gaki, the pressure inside showers, and there it is. The swing behind that pressure. Vamos is sort of stuck watching as J1 is able to take care of another BSG player just rotating around. 3 ticks to get through the Thatcher, to get that smoke popped. Crazy Boys swung in to offer some support here, but the Supreme knocking out one more, and with them surrounded, it is just Vamos left.
Sees the players on the staircase there, trying to rotate around to pick up a freebie. Finds one, goes to the second. Oh, spots him, but knows he cannot go for a repeat now. Also a player in the showers that is unable to really get onto the 3rd attempt. Swaps over to the shotgun, but that's too far. Great round from B&A there. Realized what the issues were the last time around and decided to just go in with the hammer this time. Not actually Sledge's hammer, but just run into the showers, find the kills instead of trying to clear it out as surgically as it did last time.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic take. The fact that they moved in, they read what went wrong about their showers take, and it was just the reliance on utility to get them in without a sort of gun behind it, and almost the reliance of utility to stop it. It worked very well, but what it cannot stop is being blind and being shot in the face.
And that's their second round on the attack. They won it. Of course, the game stays the same. BSG only need 3 rounds on the attack to find themselves with a map 1 victory. But that's better than 2 for the side of B&A. So, they've done what they needed to. They got the rounds they needed to. Now they need to show off their own skills on the defense here. BSG onto the puzzle solving. Seeing how quickly and they fare about this. And which is going to be the more effective method to deal with the setups that are being set up from B&A? Will it be the scalpel or the hammer?
A classic throwback.
Classic throwback.
To cheerier cutscene times, let's be honest.
It
was an era of like, yeah, well, okay. Yeah, you just ripped the band-aid off there. I was going to say there was an era of cutscenes where it was about competition, about learning and improving, and he was sad because she wanted to impress Thatcher, who is like the dad of the team. And then, you know, there's a bit of spice. It was like competitive spice. We saw Blitz cheering in the middle of an arena. We saw Mozzie
holding a shield and helmet up high.
Mozzie driving a forklift around. Just cheery times. And then
forklift certified, by the way.
No, I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't. And then, you know, we've had on the most recent one, the tower gets shot up. We see someone die on a rappel. Very emotional. Harry gets shot. Very emotional. Whatever has happened to the narrative team, they've gotten real sad.
Someone's cat died or something. I don't know. It's definitely changed the mood afterwards for Rainbow. Either way, as BSG is slowly starting to knock on the doors here, they have secured information on 1 or 2 of these players, but it seems trying to find a way to deal with it because there is definitely some support for the smoke of Baguette playing inside the security, and a player from the Zulu area, a player that is playing in the freezer staircase there. We're there to support him, but the pressure came from the kitchen, and thus the fallback has been initiated. Drone spotted. They know they were watching them all along. Slowly but steadily they get back towards the basement just to find themselves an alternate route back towards the site. Closing it off.
A lot of time has gone away from them now, and you can see that, as you said, B&A, they're closing off the back end. They realize where the push and pressure is coming from. They're stacked up, ready to have a response. The mute of Kemi is in a bit of an isolated situation. They have the C4 and they don't want to throw themselves out as the bees come across. The keeper barricade allows them to be like, yeah, I'm here, but you know, I can slip away. And they have done. They've forced them. But what do they have to move behind it here on the back of BSG? All these smokes and all these bees in the world. But unless you get in and start getting kills, they can still hold you off on the double window. Baguette gets one. The Gaki. They have the fight onto the top of White Tower. Or White Stairs even. 30 seconds and BSG is still stuck outside.
So there's finding Crazy Boy as well, who's coming in from the White Stairs, and indeed they're just stuck outside. They don't have the control of the bedroom they wanted. Player on the rappel got taken out quite early. Now as the fight's coming down from every single direction that BSG still has to offer, they get themselves inside the side. The C4 gets shut out before it detonates. That means there is an opportunity to still turn this round around, but they need to go for the plan now with the cover being on point. But the injuries come through, and that means it's only left to Vamos now with the diffuser down on the ground. Another round will go to BNA as they start to close the gap.
It was a very well-held round, and this is the worry. This is everything that we talked about before of sort of coming true there is Oregon isn't an excellent attacking map really for either of these teams. I love the energy BNA brought on their attacks because they know that as well. They were trying to sort of say, look, we know that this is the side we need to have the pace on because BSG just hit a wall and could not get a tooth in or a fang in, and if that happens one more time down here on Laundry, then suddenly you're all level pegging, and suddenly this game is even once again.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Okay. BSG. You want to prevent that. You don't want to go to 4-4 now. You got to instantly reply to that round lost. Basement is where it'll take you. Of course, BNA, they know they got close on many of the attacking rounds. They found 2, but it could have just as well been 3 or 4 if just, you know, 1 or 2 things went the other way. If they were just a little bit quicker to reply to certain activities brought up by BSG. That last round, BSG didn't really have any opportunity of finding it to the side. They were putting pressure down. A person found themselves on the side with the diffuser. So many players still left alive though on the side of BNA that, well, the attempt was kind of futile. It wasn't going to be able to last, to be planted. It turned into a post plant. So they need to find a way to actually succeed at that. Player up top. Spotted out. Supreme. So they know of a roamer. So
Yeah, it's good time wasting. It's good attention because I think they've read entirely where BSG was slow, and the more that they can pull out of this pace, it's going to work in their favor. They have the Jackal. And Jackal is almost like the double-edged sword, is when wielded well, can close down roamers much quicker. But if it's wielded as the solution for finding a roamer, it might be a little bit too slow. It might be a little bit too cautious of, I'm going on this job, you focus on the rest. It just takes one clever defender to play with a Jackal. Oh, I thought that was closer than it was.
J1 wasn't watching that direction.
Ready for this, though. The Dockerby locked out.
I was watching that direction for the player on the staircase, not for the player that was coming into the big tower at that moment in time. Talking about the Jackal, well, it's finding some spots, but seemingly everybody's downstairs, so it's no longer having to worry about any roamers. But of course, there's always the opportunity of them retaking that top 4 if you push is too heavy from one side. Zero Terror doesn't quite reach what it needs to reach. BSG not really having anything to play with here right now. They have some pings, but none of the hatches have been opened up to get Evil on that very quickly to get all those heart-reaching gauges on the right hatches. Crazy Boys working on getting that rotation going, so they can get themselves around a bit quicker, a bit faster. A minute left on the clock, and well, still a lot of utility they need to find.
Again, it's just slow. You know, you're looking at a team that's really not getting their pace down on. You're looking at a team that's, I'm not going to say overly cautious, but they are definitely cautious about the approaches. They're getting the pings and the swings on the player, but it just seems that coordination towards the actual fight. The fact that blue is still closed. The fact that those players are kind of happy to sit in the corners with their backs to it, and they can throw all the support. And again, from BNA's side, it's a good response. They've moved the players around towards the push. They're holding them off. They have one loose player towards the top of Freezer, but the rest of them are just ready. And oh no, a team kill! They at least get the fight on the back end of it. The drop on the hatch doesn't quite net them all the success, but Gaki around the back end just wins out against the shotgun at 2 versus 2 with 10 seconds. One more BNA player drops, and for all the compliments I pay to the attention being it, there is maybe the most important part. The one loose player, they have 7 seconds to get the kit and get it to the plant. They just have to hold on towards the hatch itself. They're looking for the fight. They don't quite have it. They're almost not in the room. 0 seconds. Supreme drops and locks in the round. That got a lot closer than it should have.
Definitely got closer, but that was important. Having Supreme on the top of that hatch, just to make sure that even if the site fell, well, there was always going to be a backup mechanism out there. Tactical timeout will be called by BSG because something has gone unseen there. Had the diffuser in their hands at that point. They ran it past the hatch. At one point, they didn't have it under control, but they also didn't know it was under control of the enemy team. So, gives you the questions. Should we have ran through blue, for example? Through elbow? Did we take the wrong routes? And all those are questions that could be answered. That 45-second timeout. Just a quick chat to get everybody back on the same page.
I mean, they were close. Again, with how much time was left, with how they were propped up, I still think BNA were in the driver's seat there. They got a little bit saved by a clever rotate. I complimented the player that had gone to the top of Freezer. They were the one sort of person that moved away from the fight, but you know, a drive down round on the drop on the hatch, the movement behind it, them winning their gunfights is just BSG winning their gunfights. I don't think it really takes away from the setup that BNA had. However, as you said, that one missing player, that one body disadvantage that they had because of a sort of single swing round and because of the Dokkaebi getting caught out of anybody, that is the difference maker for that round. That first engagement, that opening kill.
That's entirely it, right? Because if you would have had that call up for longer, you would have used it probably during your execute. Suddenly someone can be like, oh, there's someone up top. Or, even better yet, you can have someone watching from the top floor. Have someone on as a flank watch because you have the extra person available to you. You lose that opportunity when you take an entry def like that. So, something like that early kill could really be beneficial, more beneficial for the defending team, more beneficial than you initially think, because it's just a lot of area control that you lose as an attacking team. Or even push power. Just straight up guns in the fight. So, as we tie up that score, still 4 rounds to be played. Could still go both ways. The drones are roaming around and being put in position. Playing for that meeting. There's 2 real pushes we could see. We could either see the stage push. We could see a kitchen hold. Or more rarely, just the lobby and then go for a plant from there on. But by the way that Crazy Boy is currently located, it seems like they want to take stage.
It's the most sort of standard take. We talked about it in the Oregon we saw just before, in the first sort of series of the day. That one's a bit of a wide out hole. Maybe they're expecting to get some pressure back on from the backside of green, but with Gaki already in, wanting to open up here, he needs some support because if he gets sprayed through, you know, we've talked about the importance of the man advantage. You want to get control of the hatch here. You want to make sure that they do not have control of the hatch. And there it is. You have your route through and you have your angle that Crazy Boy can watch.
Now, the hatch has been reinforced. It's going to be making it a little bit more difficult to actually use that into your advantage, but the rest of the attic has been locked off if you look at it. Barricade, reinforcements. That's actually working in favor of the attackers, because as soon as they manage to open up the hatch, which they're going to be doing right now, well, good luck trying to challenge it without making too much of a noise. It'll be easier to hold off now.
I mean, you're almost like, they're putting things to it, and you're almost like, yeah, of course. Like, you've given them that hatch at that point. Sure, you've locked it, but the fact you've softed those doors on the other side means that they now have control of it. If one of those doors was open, they could still get the hatch, but it's a much longer job, and now you've sort of just got, you know, they're going for a hands-off hold here. Yeah, it's an echo. Maybe that'll work, but how many times, you know?
There's 50 seconds left. There's plenty of opportunity to still get that plan down. The only thing that's stopping that right now is the 2 players that are inside a meeting. Meantime, someone's trying to go in from below as well, but as I say that, it's actually being dealt with there as J1 does go down. So now, Jin has the opportunity to just start pushing aside and try and see if they can find an angle on one of these players.
Forced back by the smoke, and this is going to be that risky moment here, Crazy Boy, because will they still have more of those? They still have C4s and impacts, 2 more smokes. You actually have to just try and go for this. You've not left yourself with enough time. BNA have all the utility to force you into uncomfortable situations. Crazy Boy is stopped by the Echo drone. Islet is just going to pop up. Islet's going to pop up. There it is. They stop it. They can do this one more time. They're trying to find the Echo drone. They actually pull off. At this point, I'm not sure if it got caught out, and the plant will get connected. Oh, they can't quite find the angle.
He retook the hatch out there, but just in time. This pink's coming through. That player might have saved them the round there. Because, like, if you're in a 5v1 situation, whilst the plant's going down, everybody's covering the angles. When it's a 4v1, there's one person watching the hatch, watching that drone, just to make sure that if there's someone sneaking up from the upper angle, you have it covered. So strangely enough, BNA finding a kill in that round lost them the round.
I mean, it was still too close for comfort for me for that for BSG.
It was.
They won the round, but I don't think that they would have 99 times out of 100. With how much utility was still on the board, with the Echo drones getting in, with the angles, with the pressure from the impacts and the C4s, I'll be honest, BSG, that was lucky that that one ended up in your favor. They, you know, probably know it as well. We get that sort of bird's eye view on the chaos, and although they have the man advantage, all it would have taken there is one of those several bits of utility to connect.
5 seconds left.
One of the more destructive ones, and it's done. The round is done.
Attackers'
So,
objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
will they be able to get a second? Now, obviously, we might be rotating around all of the sites again. They want to get this one done as quickly as possible. They want to try and keep the momentum heading into Chalet. Otherwise, it is a long series ahead of them.
That's it. BSG just kind of want to be locking this off right now. Just put some quick-paced rounds after one another. Really make them make BNA feel they've been overwhelmed in the latter stages of this round. Supreme Blade behind the shield is going to have plenty of utility in front of him. Mute Gemmer together with 2 ADSs. Going to have to waste that. ADS, of course, will stop any explosive from hitting as well. So all that together is really going to be making that position very powerful. We kind of, you know, take a look back at the utility meta where you had to toss everything in at a row and then get an explosive right behind it. Kind of the way to deal with that shield right now. You have to throw in 2 flashbangs, followed up with a grenade. Those, you know, kind of rare. You only have 2 right now on BSG. So do you really want to take that shield, or do you think, okay, let's go for a different approach? Because it cannot be that heavily stacked everywhere. 3 ADSs even.
The concern about the cover that's going to come around onto their shoulder, they've got a lot that's ahead of them. Crazy Boy with the slowest rappel. They can be a surprise. They're hoping player gets forced out. They don't know. Islet has that cover I talked about. Over the watch, it was called and pinged, and now Supreme is, well, throwing impact at his own barricades, hoping to get the player on the back end of it. It's just, again, a bit of a missed moment. The X-Gyros will pop off. They don't get the kill on the back, but they're going to try and move in and at least get the gunfight.
It's a shame. Crazy Boy had the right idea there, but they just weren't able to, well, get the player flushed out before he was able to find the kill. So it's been a man disadvantage. Retiro suddenly pops off due to the detonation of the Mute Gemmer. Now the attic and the game room is under control of BSG, but J1 still down below. Have that man advantage so they can afford a roamer to be out there. Could be coming in huge in that latter parts of the round.
Jin as well. Barely any health. For them being the only player onto that side, it's, you know, not a lot of health and a gun with not a lot of bullets. They cannot take a prolonged engagement from that position. They need some pressure to come across Trophy here, and Supreme is actually going to see if he can put some of his own. Swings out and keeps firing. Goes in with a pistol. Can't get the back end of Crazy Boy. But with 20 seconds left, you may as well try and throw that advantage. There goes the player down in attic. I talked about leaving just Crazy Boy, who goes for the rotate round to try and get some revenge, wins it out. But it's 3 versus 1 technically at this point. Misses the rotate on the player, calls out the location. They were thirsting for the kill. The secondary doesn't get the rotate, and this is just cruelty after cruelty to make a 5-5.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Had to reload everything in his arsenal down there. There was
gonna
no way he was
throw
gonna be
the
able to
gun.
get on top of that. Yeah, there was going to be the next best thing. Just throw the guns at them, hope for the best at that point, but we're low enough HP to actually be picked up by it. 5-5. And we're getting at least 12 rounds in this first map. And we might find more. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the case, but BNA so far, their defenses have been looking pretty solid. Let's see if they can keep that up as well. Because this is a very important round. As whoever wins it is going to have to put the pressure
Attackers
onto
need
the
to
other
locate
team
and defuse as many bombs as they can.
by having overtime secured already. Of course, we do not work with points in a playoff scenario. Just map wins that count. Getting that 6 first, that means you have a buffer, right? And your opponent doesn't anymore for that map.
Yep. It's the sort of trade-off. It's the risk and the reward here. It's the pressures of having your map come up first is that you almost feel more devoted to win it because you know that the series ahead is,
10 seconds to
you know,
insertion.
your best foot forward as the way of putting it. And
5 seconds remaining.
especially as I talked about it a lot at the very beginning of this series, the
Attackers
3
must
map
locate and defuse a bomb.
energy will get its full test here. The depth of a map pool. PSG have to try and put some pressure here onto this round. Last time you were here, I mean, you know, the round didn't go to your favor. It could have, but that wasn't really in part because of you guys. It was guns. Okay, I'm taking too much away from them. No, they did fight well, get through on it, but I think they still just fought a bit late.
Yeah. Could have had a bit more time to execute it. Call's coming through, and so is the shield. Trying to go for some bangs through the wall, but it's not quite connecting. Or just past that point, and now we're going on that chase. Might actually find 2 players out there. Tries to get the kill through the wall. Not enough to find Supreme, but definitely a lot of damage done. And, well, maybe a scare enough to get them back towards the site. Meaning that there's going to be lots of time for them to prepare for an eventual take. Because 2 minutes left on the clock. Everybody back on the site. They just need to confirm it with their drones right now.
I mean, it's quicker on the push here, but, you know, the outside of the map control, the way that that's played against them hasn't always been the big drive and the big slow. It's when the push comes and they have to leave themselves with more than 15 seconds. Again, because that is how single players pull off those big clutches. Gaki getting their roots and their rotates done, getting themselves eyes and angles across. The freezer hatch, I think, will be popped by one of the tin openers. There it goes. Where are they going to try and execute onto?
Still 2 more of them in pocket as well, so Gak is going to be using that to open up the other hatch as well. See, the build-up is being used to get rid of drones, so smart usage out there. As Hebel is waiting and preparing to go for a shield push, that wall is still closed. Now it's going to be very problematic for him. He needs that opened up. There comes a shield, instantly wasting the serial laser gate. He's looking to, well, bounce on the back of it. The smoke is there to stop it, though, and also a player in Shaiko that should be providing some cover.
Waiting on the other side of the smoke as their own dissipates. There'll be a bit of a reveal, so the blitz goes all the way into Shaiko, and they go a step too far! The exact place they thought they would go on the drive. They miss the shoulder shake and shimmy, and PSG, they still have the man advantage on the back of that, and they should still be able to get this round. They have a lot more time to do it. Supreme cannot win out their fight. They are the team to push themselves onto series point, even with slight mistake. Hey, when you have that much time, you at least get the chance to build behind a slight mistake.
That's kind of it, right? Like, you can at least try to go for something at that point and salvage it whilst it's happening. Maybe, you know, the blitz was a bit of a panic onto the rest of the teams. Like, oh, there's a blitz on me. And suddenly they forget about the player that's coming in from, first of all, the staircase, because everybody's watching for that blitz and where it's pushing. But also from the Fraser stairs. So just causing a bit of chaos might have actually worked out for them there, but that blitz should have been able to get the player that was around the corner instead the other way around. 5-6.
Attackers need to locate.
Opportunity now to lock off this first map, get themselves in a position where, you know, they find themselves with that first map in the book. Go over to Chalet, their own pick, to potentially lock it off in a 2-0 already.
I mean, that's what they wanted. I said it before. They want to try and push themselves into their map Chalet with the momentum in their favor, with this sort of pressure of, well, Oregon was yours and now it isn't again. The Blitz is back tentatively in the pockets of Yeeble. Confirm it when it gets confirmed in the game itself, but with the kit, and I do wonder
5 seconds
they
remaining.
should be able to have their same success story here.
Attackers are heading out.
You said Blitz is a panic. If you're against a Blitz and you hear the Blitz the first time, the Blitz is a panic. The second time,
You should be prepared for it.
yeah.
That seems to be the case with Thorn, the EDs, the Melusi, Smokes, the Goya. It seems it's very trap heavy this round.
The thing is, the utility that they've had has always been quite good. I think B&A have always had enough in their pockets to stop pushes, but they haven't been able to make them connect at the right time, it feels like. They've had the Goyos, they've had Smokes, they've had whatever, but it just feels like, you know, generally they've gone away from them. They have gotten kills with them. They've gotten kills with the smoke canister we had a few rounds ago. But forget getting the opener here. Yeah, there goes Dockerby.
Dockerby was there as well to just open up that wall, that door, make some pressure happen, and then maybe you know, back off again afterwards. But don't give him the opportunity to back off. Stuck. J1 with a simple prep, willing to toss it over since someone rotates through the attic. Now a drone should be confirming that, but last time we saw the Blitz push that way, so maybe they're trying to bank on that again.
Jackie's hoping for the angle, hoping for the player to maybe get a little bit adventurous up the top of Freezer. But you're looking at them doing a Blitz face clear here of 1:30 of dorms. And that worry that I talked about before the last time we were here of time starts to pop up again. Yeah, they have the body disadvantage. They lost the Dockerby. They don't quite have that same pacey punch, but well, they almost lost the Iana just from them having a glimpse down Laundry Stairs. And it feels like they're once again being pushed away. There's a slow creep that's coming up Freezer Stairs for a second. Oyo, getting a little bit tasty, fires some bullets as we're here.
There a second ago as well, just letting his presence be known, and Isla trying to go for the aggressive fight. Fire arrow is now being tossed in. The Blitz needs to follow this up quickly. He will be able to get the fire off just before he dies, and that means Isla is now stuck in this corner. What can he really do from there? Because Yeeble's not able to follow up on the smokes and the fire that's down on the ground. It's an effective 3-on-3 situation as the grenade doesn't quite confirm the kill. What's going to be up next? Jackie has the freezer under control, has the opportunity to provide cover, but as long as that player is stuck right behind the bomb chassis, there's not much you can do about it.
Well, do they know? That's the sort of risk there. Another fire canister pops, and this one's going to leave him with about 2 seconds, so he's able to swing and actually get a kill. On the back end, the 3 versus 3 is still standing. There's another take, but it's a 2 versus 1 now as both Laundry players get dropped. Gaki, as I said, that fire's going to leave him with a couple of seconds. But not enough time. Again, that's what I want to highlight. The utility play here from B&A. They've been very focused on it. That time it's worked out. And when it works, it can define the round against their opponents.
Yeah, for sure. But losing out your player that early on in blue, again, your Dokkaebi, it's just too big of a loss right there. I mean, it is, you can overcome it. It's just very difficult to do so. Now 6-6 overtime. B&A will stay on the defense. They'll have 2 rounds for it, which means they are statistically favored to be winning this map.
Attackers need to
Of course, everything can change. All it needs is just one good aggressive push from BSG. Just overwhelms the defense, and suddenly they could just swing their way.
B&A leading in on their defense does obviously work in their favor here. That's the sort of stress. That's the flip of the coin, and I'm a little bit curious if BSG opted to sort of start there on their attacks, because as far as I remember, and I'm happy to be corrected by the rulebooks if it's been changed, is that the team whose map it isn't gets first pick on what side they are in OT.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And if that is the case, BSG have...
I thought it's whoever picks the map gets to pick OT because the other team picks the site start. But I might be wrong with that.
Maybe.
If you pick the map, you pick the overtime. But I might be wrong on that as well. That's how it used to be for a while.
Oh no, yeah. Wait, yeah, I'm misremembering. I am thinking of a major where that was changed once.
Yeah,
then
it's like banning rules that you can choose.
Yeah, there were banning rules. Ignore me. I'm crazy. I'm just crazy, crazy boy though. Still on that Grim, still on that roll. And remember last time we were sort of hearing Crazy Boy was trying to get the catch on a player they wanted to force? It's almost like Grim would have been quite maybe good at that with the backup of some support.
Has played Grim before though during the match today. Shot quite a bunch of the bees, but wasn't quite able to find anything on the back of it, considering that zombie barriers were being tossed up right after, which they could hide behind. So, oh great, spot the player, but there's just no way you can take him down as a lot of flashbangs coming through. This time they do destroy the shield, talking about their utility method to destroy it all. That means they can instantly start pushing up now to towards games. See if they can put that pressure down more so.
Big rotate, big movement coming through from BFG there. Now up to approach from the opposite side. At this point, you can see BNA's just trying to wait and work out where to do that pickup. And, you know, you have that first bit of pressure. You have the full idea on a rotate. Their very first attack was a very heavy double window attempt, and it did not work at all. So where are they going to try and make that push from there? Wanting to draw some focus here, maybe away from the kit in the pockets of Yeeble on the far end, and hope that BNA falls in line towards the double window, expecting a full double window.
Possibly Baguette's going to be smoking himself to fall back down the hatch as he gets fully blinded. Now having to choose whether or not to go up the... Oh, actually, Crazy Boy just gets swung on by the big window there. Temmie able to find that kill. And due to the zombie barriers being out there, there was no one able to respond for it from BSG's side.
And gets one, Gaki gets one more. J1 is going to go for the swing on the back end, but it's suddenly lining up away from them. It's down to the 2 remaining players in the 30 seconds, but J1 could be huge here. Sees the planter, drops them just in time, and slinks back around into the safety of Cubby, and 20 seconds left, and it's sort of falling apart here. The final throws, the dying moments, they're all on the bulletproof cam. Caught between 2 different players. They want an engagement, but neither of them are being handed to them. 11 seconds, and BNA stick in just from one sticky rotate.
That's it. Just that one rotate coming across that was not caught by any cam. The plans happening with their backs exposed is what allowed BNA to find that round, because otherwise BSG could have ran away with that one. Could have been on match point again right now. But instead it's BNA. They're heading over to their attacks. Now those have looked sloppy here and there. They found 2 successes. They need to do it again right now to just prevent having to go back towards that basement side, because the basement side, the attacks from BSG, they have looked quite decent. They lost it, however, once the Dokkaebi got spawn peaked twice in a row. So that's a literal 50-50 right now. You don't want to go back there. So BNA, they need to make sure they find it now. They need to get this in this round.
I have good hopes here for BNA, because although they've had some sloppy moments on their attacks were quite quick. They were a little bit, you know, sharper, a little bit faster than what's otherwise been put against them by BSG. Returning to that game, if they can get it, I think BSG might feel a little slowed in the comparison of how this map has felt over the past half. I think they might be more caught unaware by the game put before them, if they can find that pace, obviously.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Recam has some uses. It's still in its teething phase. There was some artistic direction.
It's on the other side of a wall we never see.
It's cool. Walls can be cool.
Right, BNA. Get yourself on a map point. You are the underdog for this game. So let's see if you can close up this first map as well to self in the driver's seat for the second to come around. Or at least have an opportunity to go to a decider after, because that's the luxury you'll have if you have that first one on your map. On your plate. Minute already wasted, or used rather, to clear out with drones to find out where these players might be, and still being scared of potential roamers to be around. So, as the droning work continues, soon they'll find out everybody is down in that basement. As now the hatches will open up, soon that pressure will be brought to BSG by BNA as well. So they're just waiting for the rotations to be made.
Hello there.
The Shrek voice line leads the push around the corner. Trying to find the back end of the push here. They have their pings. They have some places and positions. There's Goyo fire to get through. There's angles and watches long and deep across Freezer. The impact on Shaiko spot to force out that player. Maybe bounce some flashes or a grenade. The remaining grenade round. But it seems like Diana's more focused down on the back. BSG are still holding on. They've still got their defensive line.
Not sure what the plan was with that first one.
Struggle.
Not really gonna get anything, but this actually almost got J1 there, so move back out, or is it just because the indicator will stay there even though the drone is gone?
I don't know, but with that player stuck in the corner, do they know?
Should have checked that with the drone.
Yebel, I mean, they assume Yebel is obviously on fire, that the position is unplayable, but this could be exactly that. There's the swing onto one. The smoke canister stops any sort of follow-up. The pull back in here. BSG, one little tricky placement. It's cost the push, cost the momentum. There's 30 seconds. The man disadvantage. It's very awkward.
Especially when that drone drives in. You could have just gone for a quick 360 there, seen if there was anybody out there, but failed to do so, lost your life because of it. Second one drops for BNA as BSG definitely stepping up for this round as they need to. Comes in from the back, 2v4 effectively as Temi is still down on the ground. Both of them near the pillar. 7 seconds left to get this plan going, and that means that the cover needs to be fully on point as they miss the opportunities, but the impact will not. And BSG bring it to round 15.
All the way from the series we had at the start. We're going all the way from the series we had at the start of the day to where we are now. A very different game on our hands. It is obviously Oregon, but you know, if the vice versa goes true, this is still technically BNA's to play for. The defense has been solid. They have Laundry as an option. They've been solid. Down in Laundry, they suffered it once though.
Yeah, but the rounds did come quite close, so was good opportunities for BSG on the attack. If the Dokkaebi just stayed alive a little bit longer. So what if they find a way to open up that door without losing a player on the back of it? I think that will change the entire round for them. What if you just use an explosive or you use an RC Retiro rather than send the Dokkaebi in that deep? Or open up the door from an angle so you don't have to be on the barrels right after.
There's options. There's always options.
10 seconds to insert.
But who will be at one left standing here, who will be able to take what has been a very long series of... We talked about the first game being not a true test. This definitely has been. BNA know that they need to fight for this map. BSG haven't quite had the fight that they could. Even weird, you know, you sort of look across the kill game performance here. It's very solid from pretty much everyone in the lobby.
Everybody's carrying their weight to some extent. Of course, there's always the exceptions of people that are, you know, find themselves in double digits already, whilst others are lacking behind the average, but everybody's doing what they can. Everybody's doing what they need to do. A roamer about this time. 2 even. Is going to be changing this round up slightly compared to what it previously was. First call gone now. They're going to be aware of the fact that those roamers are out there as they're trying to get themselves out of the way, out of harm's way. They're obviously being hunted right now. BSG wanting to secure those kills because it makes the actual execute so much easier if you have that 2-man advantage. Second call. Knows he's in that corner. Just need to flush him out right now.
The longer this goes on, the more you worry for BSG. The more you worry for the pace of these takes. They swing around and Gaki wins it out. Supreme They're the first to fall here in this round. They took a bit of a risk, hoping to get that engagement. Gaki can start doing some of the roots and runs. They've hacked the cams. That's all in their favor as well. So the bulletproof buried on the back of site. Gonna give him the read.
All right, now all 4 of them back on site. Again, the player that's right next to the bomb chassis was a problem in that last round. But if you manage to find yourselves to execute from the pillar side of things, it's certainly a very easy position to take care of. So, PSG, they need to make a choice here. What way will they be going from? From the laundry? From the back side of things? 7 seconds for them to decide.
Here comes the smokes, here comes the drop, and there goes Crazy Boy. Gets the kill on the back. We heard some flashes, so they might have been blinded. Islet's able to get one of his own, and Baguette with a quick pop gets a second. The smoke canisters moving in his own route there. I'm going to probably get the full taste of that swing onto elbow. It looked like they wanted to lock it for a second, but they've opted to keep it live as a rotate. The burn through the gate, the swing round onto it. This is a very important fight, and it goes Islet's way! The double! Might be defining 10 seconds of 2 versus 1 here for Vamos. He's caught. He's exploded. And B&A take their map.
That's a big mistake from PSG, not paying any attention towards blue, because there was a kill coming through from there. It was utilized again for a double afterwards. Locked in the map for B&A as they find the very first. It went down to the wire. It went down to